Welcome to another episode, everyone. The night that LA Crips tried to kill DJ Quick at a funeral. They wanted to make his funeral next. Yes, they came to a funeral trying to take DJ Quick out. In fact, DJ Quick is a real pyro from Bompton, California. DJ Quick, individuals used to get shot at in LA, in Compton, for riding around playing DJ Quick's music. This is oftentimes how gang members would identify you back in the days. They figured if you're running around, driving around, playing DJ Quick's music, then you must be a friend of his. You must be a blood. You must be a pyro. You must be, because if not, you wouldn't be playing his music. So individuals you come by bumping DJ Quick, they'd shoot at you, saying you from the other side. It was dangerous. It was crazy. But they put up on DJ Quick and tried to take him out.
You said that in Compton, people get shot at for playing DJ Quick in their cars sometimes.
I got shot at. We was going up Rosecrans and Central, and I was bumping this shit in my Cadillac, and we just heard pop, pop, pop. I hit the corner and kept pushing.
And remember, the Crips even came to kill me and DJ Quick at a funeral in Inglewood. The Compton Crips and the Compton Pyros were not playing.
If you were a Blood or a Crip back then, you were automatically a magnet for chaos.
At the funeral.
Especially in an era when things were completely out of control. And of course, even celebrities weren't safe.
The Compton Crips and the Compton Pyros were not playing.
Nope.
And it doesn't take much to get you clipped.
Enter DJ Quick. He was one of those who not only stared death in the face, but also got caught up in some of the deadliest gang wars Compton had ever seen. At a time when bodies were dropping left and right, the streets were pure chaos. Let's dive in. So DJ Quick's longtime manager Stan Shepard once gave fans a shocking look into just how close hip-hop came to losing Quick for good. It all went down at a funeral of all places, a setting that's supposed to be about mourning, respect, and peace. But instead, it became the stage for an attempted hit on Quick's life. According to Stan, some Crips had disguised themselves as regular funeral attendees, blending right into the crowd. Their real intention was to kill him and DJ Quick. Stan even recalled it bluntly. The Crips came to kill me and DJ Quick at a funeral.
Remember, the Crips even came to kill me and DJ Quick at a funeral in Inglewood.
Now, here's the thing. Rapper High C was there with them, and the attackers mistook him for DJ Quick at first. But once they realized it wasn't Quick, everything spiraled out of control. Gunfire erupted, and instead of just going after Quick, the shooters turned their weapons on unarmed people who had come to pay respects. Panic broke out. People ran for their lives, and bullets were flying through a place meant for grief and silence.
And they pulled up to me and Crawford, and they thought Crawford, High C, was Quick. When they saw it wasn't, they moved a little bit to the side, and then other cars were coming through. And so everybody in the church was running out. There was gunfire everywhere.
But the most heartbreaking part was that Quick's girlfriend at the time was murdered in the attack. That loss hit him in a way that left permanent damage. Stan said the experience carved indelible scars into Quick's mind, so much so that he developed PTSD, plagued with recurring nightmares and a constant state of hypervigilance. For Stan himself, it was a turning point.
They cold. They went up in there. People think that these gangs are not organized and structured. They were, particularly even more back in the days. And these individuals then got together, came up with a strategy to go into the funeral dressed as onlookers or as mourners, not as Crips, to give themselves away. This was a planned attack, and they went in there to unalive DJ Quick at the funeral. As I said, he was really out there in Compton. He did in fact have a war with MC8, who's a Crip, and it was a deadly war.
2. He admitted the event shook him to the core. saying the paranoia of living around so much death and violence changed him forever. He couldn't be the same person he once was.
It got so close to me that I had to redirect my life. I got paranoid. I was completely paranoid. Every time I would leave anywhere, it destroyed everything in my life.
Stan didn't sugarcoat how serious things were either. He pointed out that during those days, Compton gang politics were ruthless. In his own words, the Compton Bloods and Crips were not playing at all. And when he says not playing, he means it literally didn't take much to get someone killed.
The Compton Crips and the Compton Pyrus were not playing. These people will kill you, and it doesn't take much to get you clipped.
Stan even revealed that people would come up to him offering to take care of whoever he had a problem with for as little as $500. That was the going rate for a life in the streets back then. That's how cheap, how casual, and how cold-blooded things had become.
Jeez.
I have people that have come to me with $500.
$500? Now, back in the days, I don't know, that $500 is probably now $2,000. What? That's not that long ago. Well, probably about $1,500 or something. But, what the hell? Someone can get your life taken at this time. This is how dangerous the streets were, man, in LA. Still are, of course, but life meant nothing to these individuals. And people are soliciting him. He doesn't have to go to anyone. They're coming to him and saying, we'll take someone out for $500. We'll take someone's life for $500. Damn.
To ask me for $500 to kill somebody that I was having a problem with.
But to really understand why a funeral could turn into a bloodbath like that, you gotta understand Compton itself, the city that shaped all of this. See, Compton wasn't always the tough concrete battlefield it's known as today. Back in the 1950s, it was actually quiet, calm, and mostly white. It was farmland, suburban vibes, a place where families were raising kids with backyards. One of the city's founders, Griffith Dickinson Compton, even set aside Richland Farms so agriculture would always be part of the community. But history had other plans. The shift started with white flight, when white families began leaving as more black families moved in, largely pushed out of other parts of Los Angeles by discriminatory housing policies. By the late 1960s, Compton had changed completely. The Watts Rebellion in 1965, which happened just a few miles away, was like the final nail in the coffin. From then on, the demographics flipped, and so did the energy of the city. The peaceful farmland vision was gone, and in its place came a tougher, more hardened environment where gangs, poverty, and survival on the streets became part of everyday life. By the time the 1980s rolled in, Compton had already earned itself a dark reputation. A new name that stuck like a scar, murder capital of the United States. And that wasn't just some dramatic nickname.
Murder capital of the United States. And yes, when the Watts riots kicked up 1965, they got the hell out, whatever whites that were left, they pretty much start migrating out of the area. They don't know, these Negroes over here tripping. It can go up at any time. We're no longer safe. Let's go. Turning it into, black neighborhood.
Name people threw around, it was backed by the numbers, and those numbers spelled blood on the pavement. In 1990 alone, the murder rate skyrocketed to almost 9,100 for every 100,000 residents. South Central LA was rough, no doubt, but Compton was on another level. As Mob James put it plain and simple, during those years, people were dropping like flies on both sides, and he was personally getting death threats left and right. The danger wasn't selective either. It wasn't just gang members watching their backs. Regular folks who had nothing to do with the streets were living under the same threat. That's how insane it was. You could be a school teacher, a kid, a mother. It didn't matter. You were always at risk. Drive-bys could hit anybody. Stray bullets didn't ask for names or sets. Turf wars cut straight into everyday life. Kids couldn't just be kids anymore, no playing outside without hearing gunshots echo in the background. And mothers couldn't close their eyes at night without fearing the worst, that tomorrow they'd be burying their sons. That's the weight the whole city was carrying.
Tonight, we look at the first layer of victims, the bystanders, the people caught in the crossfire.
Oh man, it ain't nobody gonna bring her back. It ain't nobody.
Then came the crack epidemic in the early 80s, and that's when everything went from bad to catastrophic. Figures like Freeway Rick Ross pumped crack into the neighborhoods. And overnight, gangs weren't just cliques fighting for respect anymore. They became full-on drug operations.
Don't blame Rick Ross. The CIA brought that stuff over.
Suddenly, these sets had money flowing in, and that money bought firepower. And we're not talking about just pistols. They had high-powered artillery, MAC-10s, Uzis, AKs. The escalation was insane. And as if that wasn't bad enough, the very people who were supposed to protect the community, the Compton Police Department, had their own reputation: treacherous. People feared the jump-out boys, cops who would roll up and harass residents without hesitation. But the corruption ran so deep that by 2000, the whole department got disbanded, replaced by the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department. That tells you just how broken the system was. Although there were attempts to calm the storm, programs like Gifts for Guns, which managed to take thousands of weapons off the street, but in the grand scheme of things, it was like putting a band-aid on a gunshot wound. The violence still raged, and at the center of all this chaos were the gangs, the Bloods and the Crips. Two colors that completely redefined Compton, two colors that turned into life or death symbols: blue for Crips, red for Bloods. Their roots trace back to the early 70s, around 1971 in Los Angeles. The Crips were first, born out of guys like Raymond Washington and Stanley Tookie Williams, who initially pitched it as protection, as a brotherhood. But over time, protection turned into domination. Tookie especially was known to rule by terror. The Bloods came after, not as an offshoot, but as a defense. The Peru Street Boys formed because they were tired of being pressed and brutalized by Crip aggression.
Not Peru, Peru, Pyru. Pyru.
They had to fight back.
Why are you guys Bloods? Why are you in the gangs?
Why is we in the gang? I guess because the area we grow up in, man. Everybody go in that area, man. Everybody follow the same line.
And once the lines were drawn, those colors, red and blue, became more than just fashion choices. They were markers, they were flags, and wearing the wrong color in the wrong neighborhood was basically writing your own death sentence. And the craziest part was that it wasn't just gang members who had to worry about it. Civilians who had no connection to the
Stockton, the victim wearing the wrong
enemy. Shots rang out, own blood, and in that
Okay, I had to go forward and he started talking about the history of gangs. I don't need him telling me.
split second, that song alone was enough to mark him as an enemy. Shots rang out just because of the music blasting from his car.
You said that in Compton, people get shot at for playing DJ Quick in their car sometimes.
I got shot at. We was going up Rosecrans and Central, and I was bumping my Cadillac, and we just heard pop, pop, pop. I hit the corner and kept pushing.
But in the middle of all that nonstop violence, there actually was a moment where peace seemed possible. They called it the Watts Truce of 1992. Just days before the whole city exploded during the Rodney King riots, these gangs, Bounty Hunters, Grape Street Watts, Hacienda Village, PJ.
It was not the Watts peace. It was a gang or Watts truce. It was a gang truce all around, period. Not just Watts. Gangs, worldwide, essentially, were supposed to be having a truce that lasted not long enough.
Watts met up at a Muslim mosque and signed an actual treaty. And this wasn't just a handshake in the street either. They modeled it after the Israel-Egypt armistice. For a second, it really felt like something was shifting. And it worked, at least briefly. The following year, gang-related deaths in LA dropped by 10%. That might not sound huge, But in a city that hadn't seen a decline since 1984, it was historic. They even held unity picnics, where rival sets came together, laughed, ate, and for once the community felt like it was healing. Mothers could breathe a little easier. Kids could actually play without as much fear. It was a glimmer of hope. But sadly, that hope didn't last. The problems ran deeper than colors and sets. Promises were broken. The system never shifted fast enough. Economic struggle, poverty, constant police harassment, it all chipped away at the fragile peace, and the hate was too rooted, too ingrained. Within months, the streets went back to red versus blue, bullets flying, funerals piling up. And when the war kept going, it didn't just take nameless soldiers, it started swallowing the biggest names in hip-hop. Take Tupac Shakur. His death in 1996 shook the world, but it was still tied back to that same blood versus Crip conflict. Tupac, Suge Knight, and Death Row had mob peer...
Suge Knight, oh my God, I'm done. Tupac's death was not gang-related per se. He got into it with an individual that happened to be from a gang, and things went sideways. But it was not a Crip on blood or anything like that to begin with. We all know the stories. Individual's chain got snatched in the mall months before, days before, weeks before. They see Orlando Anderson in the casino, and the rest is history. But there you have it. He talked about DJ Quick and his situation just for a minute, and then he went on into this whole gang culture. And I don't need anyone, particularly AI, telling me about gang culture. I've lived it over there in these areas all of my life. But it is dangerous. It is very dangerous. And DJ Quick is indeed a figure, and he's a real member. DJ Quick, or he was anyway, a real member. And indeed, individuals, as we heard Mob James there say, will get shot at for running around, driving around, playing this music. You get shot at in LA, in Compton. Because individuals thinking that you're one of that you from his side, you from his team. Just because you play, you may just be a fan of his music. You have to be a Pyru in order to be a fan of his music, in order to play his music. That's how, steep in this gang culture. And the peace treaty, it could have lasted and it should have lasted. Should still be going. There are different reasons as to why that peace treaty was circumvented. I mean, people have different stories, but none of them really matter, because we should have been smart enough to continue it on and don't let anyone interfere with what we were trying to do. Nevertheless, that was then. We are here now, and we're trying to unify at this point. There you have it. Let me know what you think in the comments. DJ Quick, the Crips dressed up in, funeral gear to go in there and get him. And it was a shootout at the funeral, trying to get him and his manager. At the funeral, it was up like that. It was war out there, even with these rappers. They was getting into it. And you can lose your life. It's not worth it. Shout out to DJ Quick. That's Hood War Chronicles, by the way. That's a YouTube channel, Hood War Chronicles. Stay safe and stay free. Woo.